Hi, it's time for another innovation show. So I am here to unveil my new reality setter device, which can create an infinite amount of universes or dimensional planes of existence, much like the one we live in now. So, the reality setter is a grand building machine in which designs any type of reality that involves character parts such as things, beings, and persons, as well as universes, galaxies, and stars, and also worlds, moons, lands, and all surrounding spaces, which would constitute places. The reality setter certainly implements all the required materials into its massive building projects like matter, energy, and gases that are related to specifics involving function, purpose, and designation. And these substances could be as plentiful by determined amounts needed to facilitate a fashion reality's necessity. The reality setter can essentially make any atmospheric condition or set them in motion, and the conditions are certainly of a particular placement, which involves highs, lows, altitudes, and levels, as well as those of orbital, regional, and stationary. This reality setter most certainly makes weathery conditions, which results from any existing reality. And the reality setter arranges temperatures of the most timid, mild, extreme, and very extreme for the purposes of providing opposites for these in regards to heat and cool or hot and cold. The reality setter makes entire realities and dimensional planes of existences in a mere brief flash, because it is not bound by time restrictions which state that vast building projects must take very long periods. And this is mostly because the reality setter creates without factoring in time tasking. So this reality setter isn't hampered by these such factors at all. This grand cosmos designer certainly does so because it processes, figures, and arranges things at beyond speeds. And beyond speeds is a combination of an already existing placement concept, meaning once the reality setter plans for a situated placement concerning reality, then it was in fact already there even before the placement. And that's how this reality setter can design, arrange, and set such cosmic scale wonder at but a mere moment. The reality setter could also ensure any duration of its creations by adding the necessary materials and other substances which would guarantee things like lifespan, longevity, and durability. And the reality setter's perception of things that it settles which were already there would make it well aware of foresighted conclusives that pertains to possibility, probability, likelihood, and certainty. The reality setter provides structural foundations for vastly infinite spaces which are perfect for this setter's situated materials. The reality setter could make many trillions of infinite universes consisting of infinite surrounds for each of them, because the reality setter creates infinite amounts of realities which appear small or tiny to it, but to the living inhabitants of them, these universes appear massive or seemingly unending. So this setter of realities essentially creates and then contains its realities separately for individual purposes, and its total multiverse depends upon the desired or preferred amount of dimensions. The reality setter's notions of size most certainly boggles the mind of people, because persons do believe that sizes are only of what they can measure or determine based on mankind's methods for observational finds, but the reality setter's perspective of size is related to appropriates which serve their purpose, and though such things simply have a required mass. To put it more plainly, even the largest orbital celestial body, which appears to be to worldly sort, is still very small as a piece, or actually very big, but only if you regard the fact that sizes in species and things are proven to vary. So what if there's really no beginning or ending to sizes? Because aren't sizes a part of the infinite vastness of all? Yes, the reality setter can create 1,000 trillion universes and more, which may in fact be the size of tiny pinholes, but to the inhabiting life of those dimensions, they might seem or appear to be enormous based on their perspectives concerning sizes. The reality setter could create an infinite amount of universes or dimensional planes of existences at the same exact time, and each universe is of course its own self-contained vastness, and it certainly would appear that way to all intelligent life forms which inhabits those individualized universes or dimensions. Now, this reality setter certainly creates by making its own spaces consisting of vastly nowheres, and then the reality setter determines the necessary ingredients which will fill those vastly empty spaces. Next, the reality setter sets a perspective image of a total, completed universe, which then becomes a certainty. And finally, while perceiving itself to actually be there, the reality setter quickly displaces itself from that infinite nothing as it sends off a building chain of events. Yes, some might call it since departure, a type of Big Bang that had resulted from its here one moment and gone the next. So this reality setter displaces itself during the fabrication of a dimension or universe, because it simply must be there to set its cosmos conformator, but it doesn't remain for reasons being that it is a builder of existences which isn't meant to exist within them. Yes, the reality setter can make an infinite amount of different universes and displace itself from those at the same exact time. So this is Corey Gerard. Stay tuned for part 2 for my reality setter device.